There we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Lazar. I am joined by Harmon Dial, and this is an episode of Canucks Conversation brought to you by Bet365. We are coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studios. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Obviously, I am not David Quadrelli. And before the rumors start going in the chat, he was needed on the business side, some stuff going on with Nation Network. He couldn't do the show today, but he did mention that he would be popping into the chat at some point when he's available. So keep an eye out. Quads will join us at some point in the chat, but unable to do the show, which I'll be honest, Harm, a little upset about because I had a whole shtick planned for Feud where he was going to be a healthy scratch, but now he's not a healthy scratch. He's out on a personal leave, so we can't make jokes about that because obviously he had some important work stuff to do.
Yeah, it was a perfectly legit reason. Otherwise, everybody on the show knows we would 100% take the opportunity to rip him. I mean, in years past, when it's been the first sunny, warm week nearing April, and Quads takes like a Friday off, we always make the jokes that he just put sunglasses on and went into vacation Quads mode. But no, this was legit. We'll give him a pass. And it actually worked out perfectly because JPat's ready to do Family Feud with us later today. And so we won't have to skip out and push that back either.
Nope. Everything does work out nicely. All right, let's get started, Harm. The Canucks losing streak is over. Franchise record losing streak snapped last night. And it was a pretty good win for the Canucks, considering they fell down 2-0 in the first period. Struggled on the penalty kill. Washington looked like they might run away with that hockey game. The Canucks battle back and find themselves back in the win column. Actually, I'm thinking, did they actually fall behind 2-0 or was it?
Yeah, 2-0? They did.
It was 2-0. Yeah. So I did remember that. I was watching the game at the gym without audio, so a little bit foggy. But what did you take away from that game? Obviously, on the show yesterday, you guys talked about how are the veterans going to respond. And I would say the veterans, especially the ones who we have talked about at length, who have struggled in recent weeks, showed up and played well and led to a victory. Harm, what do you take away from that game last night?
It was the vets' response. And it's important because a lot of times when a coach calls, whether it's one player out or a group of players, and in this case, veterans that have some weight in the NHL, you can only play that card so many times. And you're waiting to see whether your players actually give you some type of emotional response. Because if they don't, that's really worrying and a sign that, okay, is the coach's message actually being received by the players? Have they tuned the coach out? Now, obviously, Foot's only been here for a little bit over half a season, so you would expect his message to still resonate despite the club struggles. But that was the biggest takeaway. And specifically as well, just to see not only them battle back from a 2-0 deficit where you could have easily expected this game to turn against you, snowball out of control, but even the offense they generated, a lot of it was effort based. It was off the forecheck. You look at Brock Besser's goal, it's them forcing a turnover against Rasmus Sandin, who is one of the premier puck moving defensemen in this league. I think is one of the more underrated second pair guys in that capacity. So it's not as if you're just feasting on some third pair D that can't move the puck, and that's what caused a turnover that led to some of these goals. They pounced on Sandin not just once, but twice. And I've watched the Caps a decent chunk this year. The way Sandin is able to escape pressure in the defensive zone all over the ice to force him to mess up twice in that game, directly leading to goals for. That's really impressive. And I think back to specifically the forecheck. When this team was successful under Rick Tocchet, that was a staple of their identity. Right? Under Rick Tocchet, the Canucks weren't a rush-based offensive team. We're going to dump and chase a lot. We're going to use our ferocious pressure, and not just one guy, but you need it to be connected. F1 crashing in, and then you got to have the F2 arrive on time. Someone's got to seal the boards. You got to have your D ready to pinch. And then last season, it kind of fell apart. And even this year, there have been very few nights where we've been able to say, the Canucks forecheck was so disruptive. And even if you're not a talented team, that's at least an area where, based on your effort and hustle and physicality, your engagement level, you want to see them able to make an impact. And I thought that's exactly what they were able to do against Washington last night.
I think the big point there that you're bang on, Harm, is the effort. And earlier in the season, we talked a lot when the Canucks were losing. Now, obviously, they weren't losing 11 games in a row, but they'd lose a couple, 2 or 3 games in a week. And we'd say, well, the results aren't there, but the effort was there. And I think that really escaped this team in the last month or so. Losses aside, like they went from giving the effort, not getting the result, to not giving the effort at all. And it felt like that change happened very quickly, where, 1 week we were talking about a team that was full of players who were, for the most part, giving their all, and they dealt with injuries and they dealt with a roster that just wasn't good enough, but the effort every night was there. And then all of a sudden that disappeared. I think last night was the first time in a very long time where I watched the Canucks and thought, yeah, you know what? The forecheck looks good. There's effort there. Obviously, giving up a couple goals early. After that, they looked better defensively, and Lankinen bounced back and he finished the game strong. And like everybody top to bottom on that lineup looked like their give a bleep meter was a little more full than it has been. And I think, again, no matter how much of a team tank member you are, the Canucks are going to win hockey games. They're not going to lose every game for the rest of the season. And you want them to have this effort every night so that even when they lose, you can look and say, hey, that was an entertaining game. That was a team that looked like they actually cared about each other, cared about the fans, cared about actually trying to win a game. And the losses will come because we know the roster just isn't good enough. You don't want the losses to come because they're not trying. And hopefully this is a turning point for them. Right? They are dead last in the standings. You're allowed to win some hockey games. The players want to win hockey games. And if that effort's there every night, it's going to make things a lot easier for us to talk about the team and a lot easier for you guys as fans to watch the team. With that being said, I just want to shout out our Super Chat charity partner, the BC Mental Health Foundation. If you want your comment or question to make it on the show, hit us with a Super Chat. Proceeds of the donations will go to the BC Mental Health Foundation, changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange.
And to expand on the point you made, the next couple of things that I'm looking at is sustainability, right? It's one thing where coach calls the vets out one game and then you get the immediate response. It's how long does it now last? And not in terms of wins and losses, because again, just based on their talent, they're going to have nights over the remainder of the season where they are committed, they're competitive, but they're just not going to have the talent to finish off chances. They're not going to have the right defensive personnel to protect the middle of the ice defensively. But you want to see the sustainability of, if you go down 1 or 2-0 in a game, that you don't immediately fold, that you don't immediately get frustrated and start shooting yourself in the foot. And the biggest thing as well is you don't want to have periods like you did on Saturday night against the Oilers, where it is 6 goals against in one period. Yeah, you're going to have stretches, long stretches probably with this team, where you're outplayed, where you're defending for long stretches, where it feels like you're being pushed up against the ropes, but you at least got to provide some level of resistance, even if you're losing these games. And again, I think in the first quarter of the season, you mentioned it, they had that, they lost that for the last few weeks. They got it back against Washington. Now the main thing is, how long can you sustain it? Because it can't just be one game that it stays. And it also matters because a lot of these vets are trying to build up their trade value. You're hoping, if you're the Canucks, that they can sustain some decent results. And this is where, when we talk about individual performances, I thought it was another strong night for Evander Kane. Again, I don't think it's a coincidence that the moment Kiefer Sherwood got traded, Evander Kane realizes that, hey, the trade deadline is around the corner. Now, if I want to cash in on another significant contract this summer, I'm going to want to get moved to a contending team where I can play well down the stretch, hopefully have a decent playoff run, and resuscitate my value. And this is where, yeah, the goal was fluky. I'm not even talking about the goal. Got a friendly bounce there, although any goal, any production counts and helps the cause. But I'm just talking about, on the Brock Besser goal, for example, Kane was the first man in on the forecheck, crashing in, which then caused as the puck went descending. Then it was Kampf applying some pressure and then led to the turnover. But that all starts with Kane's pressure on the forecheck. And you can see when he's moving his legs away from the puck, he's a completely different player. And even in the second period, there was a sequence where I believe Washington was trying to make a DDD pass, and you see Evander Kane jumping that passing lane, intercepting it, and chasing down a loose puck. And I'm just thinking to myself, I can't count many times this season when Evander Kane's been able to break up a play in the defensive zone. Usually we're lamenting his poor effort on the back check or just him kind of floating around without the puck. So to see him engaged, and again in the Islanders game as well, he was a consistent offensive threat beyond just the production he had in that game. This is great sign for the Canucks because as polarizing as he is and as inconsistent and disappointing as he has been for the first half of the season, when you look at there not being a lot of selling teams in the NHL right now, and when you look at how common it is that buying teams like to load up and add top 9 forwards, especially ones with size, and how even mediocre rental forwards last year, like Anthony Beauvillier, like Brandon Tanev, went for second round picks. You're just hoping that Evander Kane can continue this and get to the point where, hey, maybe he can get you a second round pick.
I'm going to transition quickly here to one of our new sponsors, Pacific Blue Cross. And this segment of Canucks Conversation is brought to you by Pacific Blue Cross. Win the ultimate Canucks road trip. Get Pacific Blue Cross travel insurance for your chance to see the Canucks take on the Kings in LA, complete with flights, hotel, lower bowl tickets, and more. No purchase necessary. Contest ends February 28th, 2026. You can enter now at pacificbluecross.ca/Canucks or click on the link in the show description. So, Harm, before we move on, is there anything else from the game last night that you want to get to?
Yeah, so continuing on the theme of players that you're hoping can boost their trade value or could be trade chips, maybe not ahead of this deadline necessarily, but at some point down the road. Drew O'Connor was an animal last night. Not only, again, the goal he scored, but especially that sequence he had at the start of the third period where just using his speed to create all sorts of havoc all over the net, creating a bunch of opportunities. It was really nice to see him using his speed. And then I think we got to talk about Teddy Blueger's return as well, because there aren't many games left before the Canucks will likely be looking to monetize him ahead of the deadline. And we'll talk about him with the stat of the day, which is a presentation of Uber Eats. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins, if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Hashtag crave the stats. So it's interesting, right? When players have a major time off because of injury, a lot of times it can take them a chunk of games just to get back up to speed. You look at Nils Höglander, I think he's had a slow start and hasn't been the same player that he was to close out last season because of all the time that he missed. But Teddy Blueger, I don't think you could have asked for a better return to the lineup for him, where you look at the numbers. First of all, the underlyings are sparkling for him. Shot attempts are 21-8 in favor of the Canucks at 5-on-5. They controlled 80% of expected goals. The time on ice as well, Adam Foote not slowly working him in. Teddy Blueger played 18-24, the second most minutes among Canucks forwards. And these weren't just minutes against bottom six competition. He played 8-10 against Alexander Ovechkin head-to-head at 5-on-5. So doing it against a top of the lineup competition as well. He had 3 shots on goal, I believe, couple opportunities. And I thought it also helped that he was on a line there with Connor Garland, who he has obviously a lot of history and chemistry with in the past, and Liam Ogren. So it insulates him by giving him a little bit of speed on the wings, where we know that Blueger's a smart defensive presence, but his foot speed is one of the weaknesses of his game. And I think that's where you give Ogren, who's such a puck hound and can fly up and down the ice, and you give give him Garland, who's a possession player and can transport pucks up the ice. And it was really nice to see Blueger perform this well, because again, he's one of the few remaining pending UFAs that the Canucks will hopefully want to get a mid-round pick for, presuming that he's able to play well and attract the attention of a contending team ahead of the deadline.
All right, so we have a super chat out that we got to get to. This one is from Condones, a regular super chat contributor. So thank you for your donation to the BC Mental Health Foundation. He says, does Tom Wilson know he ended the Canucks season 6 games in? Obviously referring to Filip Hronek, the injury. I think even a healthy Filip Hronek wouldn't have saved this Canucks season. But sure, things might have looked a little bit different. Harm, we know that Filip Hronek's close to returning. Sounds like it could and likely will be tomorrow. How do we want to approach this? Obviously, we don't need to talk about the injury history. We know that that's there, and that's going to be in the back of the mind of every conversation we have about Filip Hronek. That being said, what do we want to see from him as he returns to the lineup here, either again tomorrow or I would assume on Sunday if that's the case?
Yeah, first of all, I'm curious whether they're going to use him at center or on the wing. I think the Canucks have some depth down the middle now, and it's not to say that it's particularly great depth, because you still have Teddy Blueger and David Kampf, who are ultimately just fourth line centers playing really high leverage minutes, and Hronek on talent is obviously way better than those guys. But part of me wonders, and this is a question that I would be interested to ask players and maybe poke around with execs on, is does playing the wing put Hronek potentially in a spot where he's less vulnerable to those situations where he's getting absolutely laid out in the neutral zone? Because that's like whether he returns at center or on the wing, a clear part of his game that he needs to adjust is keeping his head up when he's accepting passes. And that's really when you look at that Tom Wilson hit, Hronek had his head down staring at the puck, and it was the lack of awareness that really, I think, added to how devastating that hit was. And it's not just on that play. A number of other times as well, you see Hronek building up speed through the middle of the ice in the neutral zone, and you always know that there's going to be defensive pressure through the middle. And he's flying up the ice, but he's got his head down in certain situations, and it's just dangerous. So I want to see him keep his head up a little bit more. I wonder if moving him to the wing would, because he's such a speedy straight line player, maybe minimize some of the risk of getting caught with a significant hit. But honestly, for him, like, I don't even really care about the performance. If and when he does get back in the lineup, for me, it's about just staying healthy, avoiding heavy contact. And I'm not going to lie, every time he gets hit, part of me is going to be worried and wonder, is this the hit that's going to hurt him again?
Yeah, and I think it's fair for us to think that way. That being said, he, in his media availability last week, he talked about it. He talked about the frustrations around that. Obviously, when he called out didn't call out, but mentioned that it didn't feel good to hear those comments from the Czech Olympic coach, and obviously media and fans talking about it. He says that he's healthy and he's got his family's support and he's been cleared to play. So in his mind, he is a hockey player. As fans, as people covering the team, we're going to watch and we're going to see every hit, and you're going to cringe and you're going to say, oh, I hope he gets up. And I'm with you, Harm. Like, I want to see him get through a few games, whether at center or on the wing. And frankly, I hope that he does stay healthy, because the little spurts we've gotten of him in a Canucks uniform, he's fast. He's a zone entry machine. He can be creative with the puck. He does a lot of things that the Canucks lineup does not have right now. And to my point earlier about, even if you're on Team Tank, you still want to see them work hard and compete and be in competitive games. Like, we don't want more 6-0 losses to the Oilers on Hockey Night in Canada, right? We don't want to see that. I think it's a lot more entertaining to watch a team in a tight game win or lose. And I'm saying that, of course, like people are going to be in the chat like, well, no, duh, of course. But players like Filip Hronek help that. They help the entertainment value of hockey. You know, we're approaching the Olympic break here, and then out of the Olympic break into the trade deadline, like that's the final stretch of the season, and we know the Canucks aren't going to be in the playoffs. We want to be entertained by Vancouver Canucks hockey as the best we can, and Filip Hronek plays a part in that. But again, there's only so much you can watch without that fear and that worry creeping back in.
The interesting thing with him as well is some players, when they suffer a bunch of concussions, they're forced to change the way they play a little bit. I look at Bowen Byram, for example, and I know he's playing sensational hockey over his last 4 to 6 weeks, but it was fascinating to note how on defensive zone retrievals towards this stage in his career now, he's just a little bit more hesitant to take contact behind the net. Whereas I think when I saw him in Colorado really early in his career, he would go back on pucks and he'd be fearless. There'd be no worries about taking a heavy hit from a forechecker. Whereas now you see that he is avoiding some of those situations and is more calculated about the just body positions that he puts himself into. And honestly, part of that is sensible from a personal health standpoint and being able to stay healthy, to stay in the lineup. But of course, does in certain spots hurt his game and hurt his ability to make an impact. Whereas with Hronek, you would think after a number of concussions that he might be a little bit more scared carrying the puck through the neutral zone and going a million miles an hour and just a lot of times looking like a bull in a china shop, just going max speed and just straight north-south, not even really looking east-west and not having a care or fear in the world. I am interested to see whether he's still that player carrying the puck through the neutral zone or whether he adapts and now all of a sudden he still wants to be creative and still wants to drive zone entries, but maybe looks to get the puck off his stick a little bit quicker. And I think part of that isn't just from a risk management standpoint of the longer you hold on to the puck and are zooming in really fast, the more likely you are to maybe get caught. But also, I think he spoke earlier this season about learning to evolve as a playmaker and learning to work off his line mates a little bit better, because last year, sometimes what would happen is he'd be going a little bit too quick relative to his line mates and he'd run out of options. And so his only play would be to try and dangle through the opposition's defenseman or split the middle. And if that didn't work, then it might be a turnover. Whereas early on this season, I actually thought that he became more intentional about, cutbacks and manipulating the pace of his play so that his line mates could catch up and that he could open up certain passing lanes. So all of that is to say, like, part of Heedle's zone entries and attacking off the rush was evolving anyway to become more efficient and more effective as a playmaker. But now that he's racked up all of his concussions, I wonder if that makes him, even from a fear standpoint, a little bit more likely to get rid of the puck quicker and look to use his line mates more rather than just, I'm going to hold on to it for a really long time and approach things that way.
Yeah, so quickly before we get to feud, as I can see Jeff is ready and waiting here, a couple of people mentioning in the chat, Heedle's agent, JP Barry, saying that he's going to have to change the way he plays. So this conversation we just had, but also a couple of people pointing out like, hey, when Filip Hronek last played, Liam Ogren wasn't a Vancouver Canuck, and a player like that playing alongside Hronek might help him play a little differently. Like there's other fast options now to play alongside Hronek where he can then maybe adjust the way he plays a little. He doesn't have to be that bull in a china shop, million miles an hour, because he's got other line mates who can also take that role on. I think at some point it would be nice to see Ogren and Hronek play together. There's definitely something there. And yeah, I mean, we're going to have these discussions hopefully for a prolonged period of time, assuming that Hronek can stay healthy. And I'm very curious to see how he changes his game and how that impacts the players that he plays alongside. Before we get to Family Feud, I have another ad read to do. This segment is brought to you by Greta Bar YVR, a great spot for all games, home and away. We've told you about Greta's food and drink specials. $3.33 off select drinks, $3.33 off select food rather, and $3.33 for select drinks. We also have told you about our CA watch parties. And I'm going to tease something here. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but the boss isn't in today, so I'm going to. Stay tuned for something in February. There's a certain international tournament going on that you may or may not have heard about. We might have something worked out at Greta to go watch Team Canada. Stay tuned. More details coming shortly. Greta Bar YVR, 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. All right, with that, I am ready to bring in Jeff Patterson, and we're going to play Canucks Conversation Family Feud. That's weird. I think that's the first time I've actually had to introduce Feud while hosting the show. Doesn't feel right. Anyways, it's time for another edition of Canucks Conversation Family Feud. Jeff, welcome. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, you and I are dressed sort of alike, I see. Yeah. For a moment there, I was the bubble until you put me in the
unfortunately,
the square. Let me say, the show has never looked or sounded better. The jokes and the takes are way more solid than usual. So, this one's going well. And I feel like the Abby call-up. Now, I'm hoping that I'll get a championship ring today as well. No guarantees, but I understand the assignment. So let's get her going.
Jeff, we didn't talk about this beforehand. Do you want to go first or do you want to go second?
No, I want to play the quads roll to a T here. So
all right.
I will defer, and I'll let you get 142
now I feel a little bit, I'm not going to lie, I'm more nervous now than I've ever been, because now I feel I need to get off to a good start to put Jeff in a position to succeed. I don't want to put too much pressure on him, even though I know you're perfectly capable. But I really want this win. I really want this win.
I appreciate the confidence that you've got in me, Harm. But my last appearance on Feud, Jacob asked how many coaches will the Canucks have in the next 10 years? And I think I said 8, which wasn't my finest answer. Now, maybe I'll be proven right in all of this, but 8 seems a little extreme. So I have to do a bit better. I have done my training. This is my moment. So let's see what happens.
All right. So, Jeff, a new thing we've done in recent weeks is I assign the difficulty to a team in the NHL standings. We've got a Carolina Hurricanes game coming up here today. A really good balanced squad, not going to be easy. But you know what? I think if you guys win this one, the chat's going to explode. Like, this is going to be a massive victory. This is like prime time, lights are on. So hopefully it goes well for you guys. I believe in you. Okay, so Harm's going to go first. He will have 25 seconds on the clock. His time will begin when I finish reading the first question. So, Jeff, I will need you to pop those headphones out. Harm will flag you down when we're ready to go. Harm, if you can't think of a response, say pass. We'll come back to it at the end if we have time. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so first question here. You have to remember this was asked on Monday, and all the survey responses were filled out Monday or Tuesday, and Tuesday before the game. So you just have to keep that in mind. Think back a couple days here.
Okay.
How long will the Canucks' current losing streak last?
13 games.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are the Canucks to make the playoffs in 28-29?
4.
How many trades will the Canucks make between now and the draft?
5.
Name a Canuck past or present who had aura.
Pavel Bure.
Name a team who missed the playoffs last year that will make the playoffs this year.
Red Wings.
Red Wings. There you go. Good work.
Okay, I think we got a good chance.
All right.
Okay. Hopefully I got all of your responses right. Harm Chattel. There's a lot of numbers involved in this one, so hopefully I don't mix them up. But
this was definitely harder than last week's, but I think it's doable. It's winnable.
All right.
Okay, just tallying up Harm's score here. That one there. All right, good start, Harm. You got 103. Over halfway there.
All right. It wasn't quite 140 though, so
No, but there are some big answers still available for Jeff. So
okay,
that's
all
the
right.
good news, right? All right, Jeff, you're gonna have 30 seconds on the clock. Your time will begin when I finish reading the first question. If you can't think of a response, say pass. We will come back to it at the end. If you give one of Harmon's answers, I'm going to ask you to try again, and you'll hear the buzzer. And if Quads were here, he would find something to complain about there. But I know, I think you'll get through this one just fine. Okay. All right. You ready to go, Jeff?
I think so.
Okay. So for this first question, you have to remember the survey was released on Monday, and everyone had filled it out. Almost everyone had filled it out between Monday and before the game on Tuesday. So just you have to keep that mindset time-wise, right? So think back to a Canucks fan on Tuesday afternoon.
Gotcha.
How long will the Canucks' current losing streak last?
15 games.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are the Canucks to make the playoffs in the 28-29 season?
6.
How many more trades will the Canucks make between now and the draft?
Now the draft. 5.
Name a Canuck past or present who had aura.
Trevor Linden.
Name a team who missed the playoffs last year that will make the playoffs this year.
The San Jose Sharks.
Look at that. Not buzzed once. Time to spare, Jeff.
I
love it.
Didn't I also say 5 though for the number of trades?
Oh, I had you down for 4 for that one. So I guess I got that mixed up. Jeff, just give me another answer there. How many trades will the Canucks make between now and the draft?
6.
6. Okay, we'll give that one to you. That's my bad. It actually, Harm, did change your score slightly. You actually got to 108 if
nice.
The case.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Yeah, I should have said 4.
All right, so let's go through this. People in the chat might complain there. I'm sorry. Like, how many of these had number? 3 of these. The first 3 questions.
You're wearing 1,000 hats today. Come on.
Yeah. The first 3 of these had numbers as answers. Easy to get them mixed up. But I think we've got it sorted out now. And Jeff had time to spare. If I had buzzed him, he would have gotten me that answer anyways. No doubt. All right. On a scale of, how long will Canucks losing streak last? So, again, that's why I had to give you guys the pretext of this was asked on Monday. So, Harm, you said 13 games.
Yeah.
Jeff, you said 15 games. That was the number 3 and the number 6 answer. The number 1 answer was actually 12. People expecting that they would win tomorrow night against the New Jersey Devils, which fair enough. The Devils have been struggling as well. But so that was the number 1 answer. That was a big number 1 as well. That one was worth 43 points. So that's a tough one to miss. But
how many did 13 get us?
13 got you 12 points.
Oh, that's a massive drop. Oof.
Yeah.
Wing and a miss.
Yeah. All right. On the scale of 1 to 10, how likely are the Canucks to make the playoffs in the 28-29 season? For that one, Harm, you said that was the one you said 5 for, correct?
I think I said 4 for that one.
4. Okay. Yes. Sorry. That's correct. You said 4. 4 was the number 1 answer, worth 25 points.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I had it right. I just said it wrong. Jeff, you said 6. That was the number 3 answer, worth 14 points. There you go. So that gets you guys up to 129. So 71 points in the final 3 questions. How many more trades will the Canucks make between now and the draft? All right. So Harm, you said
5.
Remind me again. You said 5. Yes. That was 17 points. That was the number 4 answer. Jeff, you said 4 for this one.
I went 6.
6. Went the other way. Only 5 points for 6.
Harm. This is
not great.
Number 1 answer was 3 more trades worth 31 points.
Really? That's it?
Wow.
Between now and the draft?
Yeah.
You got like Kane, Blueger
here.
You got 3 pending. I don't know.
People.
Yeah, that one I probably agree with you guys on that. I think should have erred on the side of more trades rather than fewer. 2 trades was the number 2 answer.
What? No, if this was between now and the deadline, I'd agree. But this is between now and the draft.
Now in the draft, yeah. I unless they're assuming that the Canucks are going to package multiple players together, that just doesn't happen. That's not
but it
really
also doesn't even include like small, like the minor league kind of trades where, remember when the Canucks traded future considerations for the Russian guy from Chicago?
Yep. That counts as a
like
trade.
you gotta
And
include
we
those
see-
too.
Second day of the draft, like you get the trade 2 picks to move up, for 10 spots in the draft, like those kind of trades as well. 2 trades? Come on.
Yeah,
Nah, we
I'm
got
with you
hosed.
guys. That's a tough one.
We're filing a protest here, Harm. We're playing this one, I think, under protest circumstances.
All right. Name a Canuck past or present who had aura. Harm, you got the number 1 answer. Pavel Bure was number 1. Jeff, Trevor Linden worth 10 points. He was the tied for the number 3 answer with Roberto Luongo. Number 2 answer was Kevin Bieksa. So top 4. You guys got
Zadorov get a bunch of points.
Zadorov was the number 5 answer. He had 9. So hey, good job on getting a lot of the top guys there. A few people didn't really understand the question, but that happens every week. I wanted to leave it as open as possible. I think the term aura has slightly different meanings depending on the generation of person you ask. And I'm sure this is one Quads would have complained about in some way, but alas. All right. Tough luck here, I think. A little unlucky, but you guys need 56 points here.
Come on, Sharks.
On this final question. You guys got the number 1 and 2 answers. The Wings were number 1. The Sharks were number 2. Jeff worth 21 points there. Gets you to 165. Unfortunately, that is a loss.
All right.
We got hosed. We got hosed on the number of trades won.
I'm getting sent back to the minors.
The losing streak one, that's on us. I'm not gonna lie.
I got called up. I got into a game, but I'm going to be on the first bus back to Abby.
Yeah. I think the losing streak one, again, that one was tough. I think that's one where when you see it written down, and I even put like, hey, if they snap the streak at 12 games, the loss would come to this team based on the schedule. When you see that, I think it's a little easier to justify the results and figure out like, oh, okay, well, they're going to lose to Washington or going to lose to the Islanders. They're going to lose to Washington. They'll beat New Jersey. And that was why it was the number 1 answer. So that's a tough one. I think that one's probably on me for choosing that kind of question, but I thought it was a fun one.
It was fair. It was a fair question.
All right. Well, Jeff, thank you for jumping in. Do appreciate.
Thanks for nothing.
Do appreciate it. And we'll be back to play next week. We'll have a new survey either tomorrow or Monday.
You know what, Jeff? You got about 60 odd points, which in any other week would have been enough to get us across the finish line.
Yeah,
I only got a 108.
I'm disappointed in my effort here.
Yeah, so Jeff got 57 points. I want to say that's more than Quads has had in 3 weeks. So.
I don't know if that makes me feel any better, but hey, I'll take it.
All right. Thanks again, Jeff. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you on Rink Wide tomorrow night.
Carry on.
All right. With that, I think it's probably time for anyone else. Hey, Harm?
Yeah, let's do it.
Before that, though, I've got a couple ad reads to get to, so apologies. But first off, it's one of our new sponsors. Quads talked about them yesterday, and that is Hurley and Levelwear. Golf is kind of having a moment right now, not just in the traditional sense. We used to feel buttoned up, what used to feel buttoned up has opened into something new and more cultural. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to do the ad read and the producing. It's not easy. There we go. It's something more cultural. You're seeing athletes from all kinds of pro sports getting into golf. Basketball, hockey, football, even surfers use it as a new competitive outlet, a way to hang out and just enjoy the game differently. That shift is exactly where Hurley and Levelwear collaboration comes in. Hurley brings that laid-back board sports energy, and the collection pulls inspiration from Hawaiian and coastal prints, relaxed, expressive, and rooted in lifestyle. Levelwear takes that inspiration and brings it to life through a performance-driven, sustainably made apparel that is actually built to move and play. The result is the Fairwaves collection, modern golf silhouettes that feel lighter, more wearable, and less rigid. It's respectful of the game's roots, but definitely not stuck in tradition. The collection is live and available on Levelwear's website to shop. Go to levelwear.com, check out polos, hoodies, hats, and casuals. Thank you to Hurley and Levelwear for supporting the Nation Network and Canucks Conversation. And now it is time for Anyone Else, which is brought to you by Pacific Toyota Dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. It's a no-compromise approach to electric vehicles that offers the best of both worlds. Drive up to 72 kilometers on the battery alone. That's enough for you to get from downtown to the rink, the grocery store, and home to recharge. I feel like Quads reads this differently than the version he just gave me. There's some words missing in here, but alas. Seamlessly transition from electric mode to the gas engine for a combined range of 962 kilometers. No sacrifices when it comes to horsepower or style with its sleek, low, and wide exterior and sophisticated interior. It's loaded with tech that actually is easy to use. Plug in and recharge, or plug in at home to recharge, or at one of the over 2,000 public charging stations in BC alone. Now you can lease a 2026 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $109 weekly at 3.99% APR for 64 months with $3,300 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today.
By the way, I just got to say, you deserve a round of applause for you're hosting the show, you're producing the show at the same time. You did Family Feud, and now you're doing all the ad reads. I probably should have given you more of a hand and probably done more of the ad reads in advance, but geez, Jacob, you're crushing it. Pods might be out of a job.
We joke, but no, I don't mind doing this once in a while, but I don't want to do this every day. I can't. I don't know how you guys talk. My voice is already starting to go, and we're only 42 minutes into the show. But thank you, Harm. I do appreciate that. Also, in hindsight, I realized this was kind of a last minute thing, but not so last minute that I couldn't have just got Jake Fraser to produce the show and then I only would have to host. Thinking about that, I probably should have pulled that card, but whatever. We're fine. I'm battling through. It's fun. All right. It's anyone else. So we've got a lot of time to get to some questions here. So drop them into the chat. There was one from earlier from regular contributor Karen Versation. How many teams called about David Kampf after last night? Was that Kampf's best game as a Canuck? I mean, he's had a couple good ones, but a couple points out of him. He looked good.
I think he's genuinely playing better over the last stretch of games, especially at 5-on-5. The numbers are trending the right way, but also just I think he is playing quicker. He's less of a black hole with the puck. I think when he first got to Vancouver at 5-on-5, just a lot of plays were dying on his stick, and I think now he's able to ensure that his line isn't losing possession because he's got the puck in the corner and then makes an errant pass, or doesn't play with a quick enough pace to actually continue and make some of those connective passes that are needed to transport the puck up the ice, to hold on to pucks down low in the offensive zone. Now, of course, with Kampf, you're still only talking about a late round pick that you'd be able to get for him. But hey, any draft capital that you can get for Kampf is great, especially because you don't want to end up in a situation where, let's say, Kampf had really been struggling ahead of this deadline. No team wants him. Well, then down the stretch, if you still have Kampf on the roster, and especially as Hedl potentially gets healthy and Rossi will eventually come back, then what would that mean for Ratu's ability to get into the lineup down the stretch? So for me, with Blueger and Kampf, it's not just seeing those guys play well so you can get some type of draft pick for them, but it's also making them desirable enough so other teams want them, so you can move them and then open up the lineup opportunity for Ratu, and even to ensure that a guy like Max Sasson, who has earned, I think, earned an everyday role in this lineup to maintain that everyday role.
We got a super chat, and I want to thank Spatzilly just saying, "Let's go, Jacob." I appreciate it. Thank you for your donation to the BC Mental Health Foundation. Okay, couple of questions here from two different people, Harm. We're going to make it a two-parter because I think the discussion should pretty seamlessly flow. So first off, Dylan McDonald asking, is there a scenario where Ottawa could end up winning the lottery with their pick being forfeited, or would they just not be in the lottery? I actually don't know the answer to that question. Harm, do you have any idea how the league is going to approach that?
I don't know. I would guess, so this is purely a guess, because I hadn't put consideration into this, but before the question was asked, I would guess that they would just not include them in the lottery.
But then how's that going to impact other teams' odds at winning the lottery? Because right now, So first off, they actually can't get number one overall. So they currently have the 13th best odds to win the lottery. It's 2% to win. They would only be able to move up 10 spots. So assuming the Canucks finish last, if Ottawa were to win the lottery, Vancouver would still pick number 1, and it would impact everything after that. Again, now, if you just eliminate them from the lottery, that's going to change everyone's odds. So I wonder if the league might just leave them in, especially if they can't pick first overall. They'd probably look at it in a way where, well, all the teams that they jump would still just slide right back up anyways because of the pick being forfeited. Now, if they drop a little more and get into a position where they could theoretically move up to number 1 overall, I wonder if they'll come out and say something about it before the actual lottery, because it wouldn't be a very good look if they're doing the lottery show, pulling out the cards with logos on it, and all of a sudden, number 1 pick is the Ottawa Senators. Oh, wait, the pick's forfeited. So I don't think they want to set themselves up for something like that. My guess, though, is if they finish kind of in that 12 to 16 range where they can't pick number 1 overall, they will be in the lottery, and the pick being forfeited would just mean all the teams move back up.
And what an unfortunate situation for Sens fans. I really feel for them in the spot where, for all the things to lose a first round pick for, to have their former GM and Pierre Dorion screw up the no trade list with Dodonov to such a degree that you lose your first round pick in a year where you're on the outside looking in on a playoff spot. And especially for a Sens team that I like a lot of their core pieces. I like Stützle. I like Brady Tkachuk. I like Jake Sanderson. Drake Batherson's having a great year. Shane Pinto's breaking out. But they need another couple of difference makers to emerge. Now, we know about the goaltending issues, but just big picture, even if those get resolved, they're going to be stuck in the mushy middle until they get a couple more difference makers. Like, they could really use another top 6 forward. They could really use another top 4 defenseman. Their prospect pool is pretty barren because of how poorly Pierre Dorion ran that team and how many of their first round picks they traded for DeBrincat, who they weren't able to keep and had to flip. And then for Jacob Chikrin, who they got an underwhelming return for. So like, they're just in a spot where they already didn't have many assets to begin with. And to then now also lose your first round pick at a pivotal point in your team's contention arc where you're trying to capitalize on having this exciting young core that maybe doesn't have the best supporting cast around it right now. It's I really feel for Sens fans.
So next question, and this was actually on our feud survey last week, but I think this is a good time to kind of discuss it a little deeper. What team would you be most disappointed seeing with first overall if the Canucks don't get it? I think for me, I don't want to see one of those teams that's like should be a playoff team and is having a rough year end up with first overall. Like Washington, who has made the playoffs a couple years in a row. They've slumped now. The Canucks handed them their 4th straight loss. They are in a position where they could pick first overall if the lottery was today. New Jersey, I don't want to see New Jersey win the draft lottery. They've had their opportunity. Heischer's a solid player. Jack Hughes, when healthy, is a star, but he plays 55 games a season and is injured the rest of the year. Like, I don't want to see them get a third kick at the can, kind of like Edmonton, right? No one wanted to see Edmonton win the lottery to get McDavid. Obviously, that worked out for them because Connor McDavid is one of the best players to ever play the game, but nobody wanted to see that outside of Oilers fans. And then I think my third team that I wouldn't want to see win the lottery is Winnipeg for those same reasons. Like, that's a team that won the President's Trophy last year, and they're having a disaster of a season. Not quite as big of a disaster as the Canucks, but if they get the first overall pick, that one's going to feel a little undeserving.
The one non-playoff team that I don't want to see get it, like outside of the ones that you mentioned where they should be playoff teams, but they're just having a down year, is Chicago. Like, you already got Bedard, you got what you wanted, you got Frundell coming, who's another top 3 pick, you had Levshinov, who was 2nd overall. I mean, how many of these top selections should you have, especially because they've made 11 first round picks in the last 4 years? They're already stocked with tons of young talent, and I don't know, I just haven't. Maybe this is just me still salty about the Blackhawks from the days when the Canucks had such a tough time with them in the playoffs, but I've just never really been massive fan of that organization. So I wouldn't want to see them get another first overall pick.
And they also have Florida's first round pick this year as well. So it's feasible they get 2 picks in the top 10 yet again. So they don't need first overall. That's for sure. Taking a look through the chat here. Any other questions?
I got something. I got like a quick little thing that
Sure.
I think would be fun. So I saw this on Instagram. Actually, I forget what the account name was, so I apologize for not being able to credit it. But somebody scraped the NHL edge data for some of the slowest forwards by top speed this season.
Okay.
And I've got seven of the names jotted down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7. 3 of them are either current or former Canucks. Like there's one current Canuck and there are 2 former Canucks. Okay. And I wanted to see if you could guess who they were. So one on the current roster and then 2 who are like fairly recent.
Gotcha.
Canucks.
Yeah. Current roster's got to be Brock Besser, right?
No, it's not Brock Besser.
Not Brock Besser. Okay. So I'll push that aside because I think I'm fairly confident on one of the formers. Kuzmenko. Is Kuzmenko one of the former?
Yes, Kuzmenko is on this list.
Okay. Current Canuck who's on the slow list. Can you give me positions? Probably too big of a hint, but give me the position. Like forward or defense?
Forward.
Okay. Obviously not someone like O'Connor or Ogren. Could it be Pedersen? I hope it's not Pedersen.
No,
okay, good.
It's not PD.
Good. Now that'd be a pretty concerning thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, Harm. Okay, give me a hint for the former Canuck that I haven't gotten yet.
He was a good player, and the foot speed was really the only thing. And we're thinking about someone that's like pretty recent.
Pretty recent, good player, foot speed. I mean, feels like there were a few of those guys. Okay. Thinking back to the current one.
He was a forward. I'll also give that.
All of them forwards. Okay. Is it DeBrusk for the current one?
No. DeBrusk's actually got a pretty good top speed. It's Aturatu.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, DeBrusk I forgot here. I thought for a second I was thinking about bursts, but no, it's top speed. So yeah, Ratu makes sense there. Okay. So Ratu, Kuzmenko. Now the third one, former Canuck.
Think middle six. Think
middle six, former Canuck with foot speed being a problem. Ooh, man. I don't know, Harm. I might need another hint.
Center.
Oh, Suter.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. P.S. Suter.
It's P.S. Suter on the list. Wow.
Well, it makes sense. I mean,
it does.
He's so smart, but we could all tell that he wasn't exactly a burner. Some of the other guys on the list, the non-Canuck players, Corey Perry, Jamie Benn, Tyler Bertuzzi, and Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah, I mean, 3 of those guys are in their late 30s. You would expect them to. So, and someone like Jamie Benn was never really fast to begin with. Like I wasn't escaping. So, okay, interesting. Yeah, Pius Suter. I completely forgot that. Oh yeah, because it's easy to forget that he wasn't the greatest skater because he was so smart. Yeah, right. Like a lot of guys rely on their speed to make up for their lack of smarts, but in fact, he's the other way around. But yeah, as soon as you said center. Oh yeah, who's the slow center that the Canucks had in recent years?
Doesn't actually play slow because he anticipates so well and ends up being in the right spots.
Exactly, that's my point.
He never puts himself in positions where the lack of foot speed is very apparent. But yeah, that's his IQ making up for him not being a burner.
I like that, Harm. That was good. That was a fun little one here. I'm going to look through the chat one more time. Last opportunity to get some anyone else's in. And if I think we got time for one more, and then we'll get to the Bet365 bet of the day. Interesting. Okay, so this one here talking about Jamie Benn. This is a really quick answer. We'll probably do another one after. Jamie Benn, 37, will be a UFA. Should the Canucks sign him for cheap, $1 million, one and done? I mean, would Jamie Benn really want to come to a rebuilding Canucks team in free agency? I don't think so. I think he's gonna he'll take the cheap deal, the cheap 1-year deal on a contender to play on their 4th line. He's not coming to Vancouver.
Yeah, he strikes me as a Dallas star for life. And if not with Dallas, then yeah, he would go to another contending team. I wouldn't see the point of going to a rebuilder.
Okay, here we go. I like this one from Sunny D. Mott. Shane Wright, thoughts? And obviously, there's rumors about Shane Wright potentially being moved out of Seattle. Irf and Dave Pagnotta on DFO Insider this week talked about Shane Wright and how the Kraken are looking for a legit, like, top end first line player, and they would be willing to trade Shane Wright in a package to get that. Now, I don't know who would fit that role on the Vancouver Canucks roster other than Elias Pettersson. He'd be the only one that I think Seattle would really be interested in as far as what they need. But let's assume then the Canucks were trying to acquire Shane Wright from Seattle, even for something else. Do you like the fit? And what are your thoughts, Harm, in general of Shane Wright potentially being moved from Seattle?
Yeah, I don't think the Kraken have managed him very well, where last year he broke out with 44 points in 79 games, and he was doing it playing 14 minutes a night, so not even with a ton of opportunity. And then this year down to 17 points, 49 games, but the ice time has been trending in the wrong direction, where now he's under 14 minutes a night. He's at 13:44. I just don't think that's enough ice time. I think this is a situation where he had the breakout year last year. You should have put him in a situation where he's getting more power play time, is getting more top six usage, especially because I look at the rest of this Kraken lineup and it's mostly been mid anyway. So why not try and develop your players that have pedigree into higher profile kind of roles? So I think this is a situation where if a team acquired him, gave him more opportunity, that he would be like, I could see him being a consistent 50-ish point center. Don't think he has a ton of upside beyond that. I don't think he's a particularly dynamic player, but I think he could absolutely be a very solid middle six center. He's still only 22 years old. I'm not sure I see the fit for the Canucks, though, because the report alludes to Seattle wanting to take Wright plus for an actual, like, I imagine their idea would be, and I don't think Dallas would actually do this, but could we take Wright plus for like a Jason Robertson? Right. That would kind of be the idea of trying to swing for the fences for an actual, like, true star player. And yeah, maybe you could say Pettersson, but
I don't think so.
I don't think that's
it doesn't seem like there's any fit for a deal to be worked out with the Canucks. But you're right. Like a team like Dallas, who has a star player that, you know, there's the worry about being able to re-sign. Like, that's who Seattle's looking for. I don't really know if Shane Wright plus, it really depends on what the pluses are to try and make that happen. I will just say, you know, if Shane Wright could be a 50-point center, Uri Slavkovsky on pace for 35 goals and about 72 points. So
he's been unreal. He's got
good.
31 points in his last 31 games. Watching him cook on that second line with Demidov. They're magical together. I actually I did a national piece on the 10 most improved players this season. I had Slavkovsky on my list. I think it's not just the production increase where he's now on pace for 31 goals and has been a point per game player for a while now. It's just how much more dynamic he looks, where I think, and you've probably watched the Habs more than me, I feel like when he was playing on that line with Suzuki and Caulfield, because like he was almost having to play the, I'm a big body, I just got to win puck battles type of thing, and then let Nick and Cole cook with the puck. Whereas now, Demidov's going to have his puck touches, but Slavkovsky has a little bit more license to, all right, I'm going to hold on to the puck, I'm going to carry through the neutral zone, I'm going to look for these nifty passes, and just some of the give and goes as well with Demidov have been unreal.
Look who's here. David Quadrelli. Welcome. Welcome to the show, Quads. Feud didn't go well.
You know what, though? It was
book David Quadrelli.
It was a really hard survey this week.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? You're gonna hit me with that?
Bro, Jacob called it the Carolina Hurricanes, and we got hosed for the question about
trades.
How many trades will the Canucks make? But you tell me. I don't know if you tuned in. how many
I didn't.
So how many trades do you think the Canucks will make between now and the
The
draft?
draft. Between now and the draft.
Not between now and the deadline, now in the draft.
3, 4.
Okay, maybe
Well,
you would have picked up more points. But
yeah,
I
three
think
was the number one answer, and they didn't get it.
It's low. 3's low.
Three's
Like, are we
low,
talking by the time the draft starts? How many trades are they gonna make?
I said between now and the draft. So
Okay,
the
because
start of the
I think
draft.
I'd say probably 3 or 4. But if you include like draft day trades, they're gonna make the we gave up 2 picks to move up in the 3rd round or whatever. You know what I mean? They're gonna make little trades. Not to mention, all those little trades that they make where they just do guys favors. Like, oh, we've got Safanoyov or whatever.
exactly. That's
Someone
what
brought
I
that
brought
up,
up. And the number 2
You
answer
brought up
was
that
2.
kid?
Yes.
The number 2 answer was 2 trades.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Okay, you guys might have got host. I didn't watch
Yes.
it. I'll go back and watch it. But I was just jumping in because I wrapped up all my meetings and it was a hell of a day, boys. Yeah, I apologize to the listeners that I wasn't there today. Although some people probably enjoyed it. And then now I just jumped in at the end.
The jokes were flowing,
It was good. I was in the
trying to
chat.
figure
I was
out-
in the chat
yeah.
for like a 10-minute period. It was
trying to
great.
figure out what the return on the trade was going to be, and no,
I saw. I think it was T. Rogers wrote, "Bro got traded for no considerations." It was good comments. It gave me a laugh. Honestly, like in all seriousness, it was a really difficult and annoying day for me professionally. So getting to read those comments was really, really nice. And
Okay,
because I'm
so-
wearing my toque, Hip Hop Jesus in the chat said Quads was busy stealing priceless art.
looking
so-
like a longshoreman.
I gotta ask, does that loss count? That loss probably counts for a season record, right?
No, so if you looked on the graphic, you got an 0-1 record for you and Jeff. I separate them.
I feel like it should count for the season.
I can sure if you want me to count it
Disagree.
for your season, I can.
I'm trying to be fair. That
Yeah.
counts for the season. Put it
No,
this
it
way: if
doesn't.
we had won, I would have been saying that's got to count for the record. So if we lost, I think it's only fair if it counts to where the season
Buddy,
tally.
if you don't have your full team, it doesn't count. This is like
this
is
we
like Patrick
you were
Alvin.
injured. We healthy scratched you.
This is like Patrick Alvin
No.
logic. Like, oh, if we had our full lineup, this is our actual record.
Although Harm, remember, it was supposed to be a healthy scratch, but then it was a personal reasons, a leave of absence. So it wasn't in fact a healthy scratch on the books. So
Although I did get a kick out of the people just thinking I just no-showed because I couldn't face the music, and I was like, no, I don't want to be a part of it. And I only showed up because you guys lost in Family Feud. Yeah.
all right, well, I think it's
Do we need
time.
to do any ad reads? Do I need to do anything?
No,
Oh,
we
I
got all
feel
the ad reads.
bad for Jacob because I probably should have told him, hey, I should pick up the slack and do more of these. And so Jacob was going through all of them. The only one I did was the Uber one for the stat of the day. And it's just, Jacob is a rock star. And like, I didn't realize that he was going to be producing the show and hosting it at the same time. And then hosting Family Food and doing all the ad reads. I feel like like doing the intro for the show and everything. Like, yeah.
Jacob, you did do a hell of a
bad there.
job. I jumped in the chat to say you did a hell of a job. Hey, we
Thank
got a comment here from Condones. Let me know how you guys like this idea. Condones said, can we do a quick little impromptu Family Feud to see what Quads would say for these
Sure.
questions? You
Okay.
already have my answer for one of them. So
Yep.
just skip that question. And you already told me 3, so say 4. 4 is what I would have said.
Sure. Okay, so we're
Just
gonna-
throwing more work at Jacob.
No. This is easy. I've got it all open. So that was the trades. So you said 4. So that 4 still would have been worth 20 points, by the way.
I'm
Okay.
just gonna cry laughing if we lose anyway. I
On
come
a,
in
on a
late,
scale of
closer, blow
on a
the
scale
save.
of 1 to 10, how likely are the Canucks to make the playoffs in 28-29?
4.
Okay, that's what Harm said.
Okay,
So you were
5.
given buzz.
Go up. I go up to 5.
5. Okay.
Jeff said that. Can I get buzzed twice?
No,
in
he
this?
No.
didn't. And 5 was the number one answer. Quads.
Oh, okay. Keep me going. Let's go.
Canuck past or present who had aura.
Bure.
You would have been buzzed there. That was Harm's answer.
Ojik.
Ooh, okay. So you would have gotten, I don't think, any points for that one.
All right.
Yeah.
We're
No
back,
Gino on
baby.
that.
We are still back. Okay, keep it going. Keep it going.
Okay, so now again, you have to remember, and I told them like, hey, put your mind into the Monday afternoon when people would have filled out the survey. How long will the Canucks losing streak last?
13 games.
So that was Harm's answer.
12.
You just bumped yourself
Damn,
down
okay.
to the number one answer.
Oh,
And it was the big number one answer, 43
yeah.
points.
Oh man. So,
So-
we just
So,
won.
so no, you're at a total of 196.
Okay.
So
okay.
it would come down to this last question.
All right.
Name a team who
Oh,
missed the playoffs last year that will make the playoffs this year.
San Jose.
That's who Jeff said. Quads,
Damn it.
assuming that you didn't run out of time with those buzzes, you would have won.
So I'm great. I'm great when I don't have
When
to
there's
get
no
that.
pressure, when there are no stakes,
Yeah.
when there's no clock.
It's that damn timer. It's that damn timer, man. It's that damn timer and that damn buzzer.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob, you want me to do the bet? Or
No, I've got a
Yeah,
bet
yeah.
prepared.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So it's time for our Bet 365 bet of the day. Now, first off, Quads, you took the Flames on the money line last night, I think.
Yes, I did. It was not good.
Yeah. Final score of that one was, what was it? 4-1 for
They got
Pittsburgh.
beat down.
So
It wasn't good.
yeah, it's a tough one. Now, I'm taking a bet that is going to happen over the weekend. So I can either take a victory lap on Monday or you guys will all forget about it because there's going to be 4 days in between. I'm going football. I'm going NFC Championship game. And I am taking Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith and Jigba both to record a touchdown. Plus 375. Those are the two best receivers in the league this season. Now, I think we've seen Seattle rely on the run game a lot, especially late in the year and into the playoffs. But hey, JSN made a great touchdown catch last week. Puka Nacua had his best game of the season against Seattle, which is crazy because Seattle's defense is so good. It's going to be a clear night, no wind at Lumen Field. I think both of these top receivers grab a touchdown pass. You can get that plus 375 at Bet 365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet 365. Be sure to use code NATION when you sign up. And you must be 19 plus to play. Please play responsibly.
Whew.
Jacob,
There
hit
we
the
go.
applause button for yourself.
Yeah, hit the applause button.
There we go.
We're just like, Jacob, do this, do that. You did a great job. You really did a good job.
Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate
I only caught a few minutes, but it was great. It was great. All right. Well, I don't know what to do from here because Jacob did such a good job hosting. So now maybe I'll
Quads-
take tomorrow off too.
it. I'm not doing this again tomorrow. Just letting you know. If by chance you can't do the show tomorrow, we're finding a co-host.
No. I will be here tomorrow. Literally, the thing that I needed to take care of got taken care of at 2:52, which is when I joined the
Fantastic.
show. Yeah, it was just a long process, and it was very frustrating. So it's over. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back
right.
tomorrow. The three of us will be back tomorrow. You want me to
We
close
will.
this out?
No, Quads. I'd like to close it out.
Take it, man.
So for my co-host Harmon Dial, I want to also thank Jeff Patterson for filling in on Feud and for David Quadrelli for making an appearance here to end anyone else. My name is Jacob Lazar, and thank you for tuning into another episode of Canucks Conversation.
Canucks Conversation is live Monday through Friday, every weekday at 2 p.m. over on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and interact in the YouTube live chat every day with us, folks.